woman was just preparing to hand the company over to her adopted daughter who had returned from studying abroad. She never expected that the very next moment the adopted daughter would appear before her with her biological mother. She completely ignored the woman's feelings and openly introduced the biological mother she had just acknowledged. She claimed that this woman was her real mother, yet she addressed the adoptive mother who raised her for 20 years only as aunt. Hearing this, the woman's heart instantly turned cold. She had raised the girl for 20 years, yet the girl had never called her mom even once. But the biological mother appeared and immediately announced her identity in front of everyone. She acted as if she were the rightful owner. However, no one knew that the woman's care for the adopted daughter came from a promise made 20 years earlier. Back then, the adopted daughter's father was gravely ill and held the woman's hand tightly before passing. He pleaded with her to take care of his daughter until she was 18. He even offered to give her the company as compensation. If she did not want to manage it, she could sell it. Looking at the dying man on the hospital bed and the helpless little girl beside him, the woman softened and agreed on the spot. From that moment, she took on the heavy responsibility of raising the girl and saving the company. However, despite the woman's constant care, the adopted daughter never once called her mother. Over the years, the woman turned a failing company into a thriving industry leader worth billions. This day was the welcome banquet for the adopted daughter returning from overseas. The woman planned to hand full control of the company to her during her coming-of-age celebration. Yet the secretary felt uneasy about the adopted daughter's growing attitude toward the woman. And indeed, everything sadly happened just as she feared. The adopted daughter brought her biological mother back. She ignored the woman's feelings and bluntly said the woman was only the aunt who had cared for her. She even suggested letting her biological mother, who had zero business experience, serve as the company's vice president. The woman tried to persuade the adopted daughter, telling her she had just returned and was unfamiliar with company affairs. She said that during the coming-of-age ceremony in 3 days she would personally teach her how to run the company, then gradually pass all authority to her. She also reminded the biological mother that leaving back then and suddenly returning to take over the company was inappropriate. But the scheming woman pretended to be wronged, claiming she left back then only to avoid burdening them. Now she only wanted to reunite with her daughter. The adopted daughter was completely swayed by her biological mother's sweet words and fully sided with her. She publicly contradicted the woman, declaring that she was the company's president. She said she had the right to choose the vice president. She even accused the woman of refusing to give up power. The secretary could not stand it anymore and stepped forward to defend the woman. But the adopted daughter harshly scolded her and claimed no one could change her decision. At this moment, the woman finally understood that no matter how much she gave, the adopted daughter had never truly accepted her. To fulfill her promise to the girl's father, the woman reluctantly agreed to hand over the company at the retirement banquet in 3 days. Once the biological mother moved into the house, her true nature was completely exposed. She acted arrogant, greedy, and casually rummaged through the woman's belongings. She immediately set her eyes on an evening gown in the woman's closet. The woman angrily drove her out. Then the scheming woman slandered the woman in front of the adopted daughter, stirring up conflict. The brainwashed daughter grew increasingly dissatisfied with the woman. She began blindly interfering in company affairs. She ignored the long-term stability of the company. To cut costs, she canceled employee vacation benefits and overtime pay without permission. She even felt proud, as though she had contributed something valuable. The woman told her that such decisions would chill the employees' hearts and destabilize the company. She asked her to immediately withdraw the order and compensate the staff. But the adopted daughter refused and believed the woman was deliberately targeting her. She even claimed her decisions did not need the woman's approval. The woman suddenly felt unwell and quickly left the office. Seeing this, the biological mother seized the chance to provoke further conflict. She pushed the adopted daughter to clear out the woman's general manager office and give it to her. She lied that as the vice president, not having a private office would make others laugh. The adopted daughter hesitated a little and said she would handle it. But the scheming woman could not wait and directly brought people to seize the woman's office. She smashed everything inside. Among the items were photos of the woman and the adopted daughter from childhood to adulthood. These were the woman's most precious memories. When the daughter entered, the biological mother intentionally fell and pretended the woman had hurt her. The adopted daughter was completely fooled by her mother's performance. She publicly accused the woman and even tried to drive her out of the company. At this point, the woman lost all hope in her. Heartbroken and exhausted, she stopped arguing with both mother and daughter. She secretly arranged for a lawyer to transfer all her shares out of the company. She only left the adopted daughter a simple notice of the share transfer. She decided to hold the retirement banquet as planned, to give her decade of dedication a dignified ending, and to bid farewell to the emotional bond she held for 10 long years. However, the biological mother purposely claimed she had no dress to attend the banquet. The adopted daughter rushed into the woman's room and took the gown the woman once gave her. Just as she came out, she vaguely heard the scheming woman on the phone. It turned out she owed massive gambling debts. She came back only to use her daughter's trust to seize the company and pay off her debts. But the adopted daughter did not hear the full conversation. She then handed the gown to her mother. On the next day's retirement banquet, the biological mother arrived wearing the gown in full display. When the woman saw the gown she cherished for years appearing on the biological mother, she was stunned. Seeing her treasured dress being treated so carelessly, watching her openly belittle the woman, mocking her as someone living off her husband's inheritance, accusing her of being unworthy of everything she had, the woman finally reached her limit and argued with the biological mother. The scheming woman pretended to apologize and poured her water, yet she repeated her trick and pretended to fall again. The adopted daughter forced the woman to apologize to her mother in front of everyone. The woman exposed the scheming woman's lies, but the adopted daughter grew furious and slapped her hard. She coldly told her she would only ever recognize her biological mother. The woman should never expect her to call her mom. Hearing this, the woman's heart completely shattered. Overwhelmed, her old illness returned. She told the adopted daughter to take care of herself, then left in sorrow. sorrow. Seeing that the woman was finally out of the way, the biological mother became wildly excited. The next day she brought the adopted daughter to attend her coming-of-age banquet. Yet the moment they pushed open the door, both of them froze, because what awaited them would be the most painful lesson of their lives.